Hello, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new. I'm Julianne, and this is my quest to read every single book that I own that is appropriate for reading all the way through and that I have in print, aka TBR 0. So this video is my recap for June 2026, which was the last month of my third year of doing TBR 0. Yes, I've been at this a while. And I knew I was going to do a recap this month and not a vlog because I got married. But moving along, back to the books, because I was getting married and I had a lot to do in the first couple of weeks of the month before I got married, I decided I wasn't going to vlog, just so I had one less thing on my plate. I also didn't read very much during those couple of weeks. Like, I was reading bits and pieces, but it didn't really start moving until after the wedding, to be honest. I managed to read Platform Decay by MacPhail, which is the newest book in the Murderbot Diaries series. I was so lucky I managed to get this as an audiobook from the library basically right away. I got like a notification that it had come in and I clicked borrow. It turned out that they had bought a lot of copies, so I wasn't actually as speedy as perhaps I thought I was, but I did get to be one of the first few people to read it from the library, so that was very exciting. I can't really say very much about it other than that I really enjoyed this latest instalment, and I hope that I will be reading and enjoying the Murderbot Diaries for many, many, many more years. At the same time, I was reading extras, so I'd read the rest of the Uglies series, which was originally a trilogy, and then this book was kind of added as an extra. There's even a joke in here about it. Let me see. Yes. It's dedicated to everyone who wrote to me to reveal the secret definition of the word trilogy. I decided it was about time I got on with this before I forgot too much details from the previous 3 books. So yeah, I was sort of dipping into it, and being YA, it was quite easy to kind of follow along with, and yeah, I'm done now. Woo! One series off the pile. I have so many series that I'm kind of partway through or that I intend to read, so yeah, having one ticked off. Someone's going to reply to this now and say there's another book. I really hope there's not another book. I'm not going to look it up, I don't want to jinx it, but not only am I pretty satisfied with where this one left us, but I just really want to have a series off my plate. Give me this one thing. Then we had the wedding, and on our mini-moon I took Hidden Talents by Erica James. I will put a picture up here because I ended up actually leaving this one at our accommodation. I decided to save a little bit of storage space and not take it home. So yeah, I read this one quite a lot in bits and pieces whilst we were on mini-moon, and I finished it. I quite enjoyed it, although it has dated in some ways. It's essentially a story about a group of people who form a writing group and the relationships that they build with each other and the things that they go through and work through in their own lives and how they help and support each other. It was a really nice subject for a novel, and I liked how they didn't all sort of like become famous writers in the end or anything like that. It was very naturalistic. So yeah, I would recommend if you are into that kind of thing, but do bear in mind it has dated a bit. I think it was published in the 2000s, and there's some things in there that you probably would write differently if you were doing them now. Then I fancied something very different, so I started Woman Eating by Kohda. This is a vampire book. The narrator is a vampire, but she's like a aspiring artist vampire living in East London, and so there's a lot of sort of like art world politics stuff going on, as well as her telling you about herself and her mother and her kind of the mystery that hangs over her father. But it's also very much about hunger and desire and all of that kind of thing. It's literary fiction, so yeah, I feel like covering the main themes is really how far I should go in describing this book. I feel like if I say any more, I will be removing some of the fun out of exploring this book for anyone who watches this and decides to read it. But yeah, really enjoyed it. Very, very interesting story. Then I finished, and I feel like I should get like a big round of applause. Yes, I did it. I finished Happy City, and I had just sort of got back into like reading little bits, and then suddenly I discovered that I was like really near the end, because the notes section starts on page 329 and continues till page 369, and then there's like an index afterwards, which is several pages. So like this much of the book is notes and index. So all of a sudden I was like on the last chapter before the epilogue, it felt like. So yeah, I felt like I sort of raced through the end because I didn't, you know, wasn't going to read all the notes. I did sort of flick through the notes because there were some bits where the author went into a little bit more detail, so they weren't all just sort of like references. Some of them were sort of like additional commentary, but most of them were just like references to books or interviews and things like that. So yeah, as I've said before, this is a fantastic read. It's about cities and how to design them for happiness, essentially. So it talks about all kinds of things like density and transport and public space and things like that. I think if you're interested in these topics, then this is a must read. What I really enjoyed about it is that it is truly global. It's not just references to things in North America, there's also some South America and Europe things kind of mixed in there. So it really made it feel like the author had done his research on a global level. Then I read this very water-damaged copy of Penelope by Rebecca Harrington. So this is a kind of university satire. So it's set at Harvard. It's about this young woman who starts there as a student and the kind of weird adventures she has and the people she meets. I really enjoyed the characters in this that Penelope meets. Like, to me, they were the highlight of it. Another thing I liked is that she is quite like strong-willed. She does often go along with things, but when she decides she doesn't want to do them, she doesn't want to do them, and that was quite fun as well. My main criticism is that it's so Harvard specific that I feel like someone who has never been to an Ivy League college and not Harvard and doesn't even really know the university system in the United States of America, I probably missed out on some of the jokes. Like, I feel like it would probably be funnier if you kind of know the subject matter, but hey, it was a fun way to pass the time, and I did find it very Moorish and compelling to carry on with. Then I read Worse Than Boys by Catherine MacPhail. This is a novel about a girl who is part of this kind of really like committed gang of girls in her school who have this sort of rival gang that they fight with, but then something happens and she gets kicked out of her group and doesn't really know what to do. And it's a story of her sort of finding out who she wants to be, and also like really difficult social situations and kind of how horrible and intense it can be to be a teenage girl. I like that this was really like quite brutal with that and how painful it can be. I also liked that the main character has a very difficult relationship with her mum and looks down on her mum, and this attitude is really explored and deconstructed over the process of the story. That was really great to me. So yeah, I really enjoyed how it all came together in the end and what the scenario let the main character explore, and how like she's not very likable. I love a unlikable narrator, especially a teenage unlikable narrator. My absolute favourite. It's just, yeah, and this character is definitely unlikable. You will be like, why is she doing that? Why is she so horrible? Why is she so mean? But it all makes sense in the end, I promise. So there we go. That's my recap of all the books that I read in June. I will now do the tally. So I read one library audiobook, that was platform Decay. I DNF'd one book, and I finished 6 books from my TBR. So a pretty great month to end my 3rd year of TBR 0. Thank you so much for watching. Please give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Subscribe if you'd like to see more from me, and you will see me again soon. Bye!